In terms of Man United, also lost at the weekend. And I think we've done a lot of talk on the Terrace. I've done a show today. We've done a lot of talk at the weekend about the manager and his job. I wanted to talk about Marcus Rashford because there's a lot of the airways. I'm not sure what you're getting over there in Canada, Cam, but most of the radio stations are casing into him today. A lot of United fans are turning. There's even fans angry that he wanted to be the last guy to walk out of the tunnel. Turned out the reason that he was last, he was the only guy that didn't have a mascot with him because there wasn't enough, and the pitchers want all the mascots together. But the fans are really going at him. He's in awful form at the moment. I don't personally think he should be starting in the team, irrespective of what he did last year. Is the criticism of Marcus Rashford justified? And is he one of the reasons why we're struggling in the attack?
It's justified's a weird word. I think some of it is for sure, but it's over the top. And it always is with Marcus Rashford, and it always will be. Marcus Rashford is a confidence player. I've said it before. When he's in great form, he's amazing. When he's not amazing. It's something we, as a United fan, you've learned over the years that that's who he is. That's just who he is. And to say that he's the only reason, like, I love the people coming out saying, like, Bruno and Rashford in the team, and this is why we lost, whereas like Bruno was great and we had most of the ball, which people say we can't play possession football with Bruno in the team, which we did. Yes, Rashford wasn't good and Rashford hasn't been good. That's okay. I mean, at the end of the day, it happens. He should be dropped. That's something I do agree with. But the criticizing every single little thing he does is over the top, and it's just because it's got to a point where people have agendas. It's ridiculous. Like, I'm more than happy for Rashford to be like dropped when he's out of sync. That makes sense for any player, especially when there's competition, especially when there's players who can come in and do the role. But people talking about like the mascot thing, like why are people caring about these? None of this fucking matters. Let's make it clear. Like, none of those things actually matter on the pitch. None of those things are football issues, right? And he's not doing anything off the pitch. Like, we had all these dudes who have scandals and all these bad things that happen, and Marcus Rashford is the one who's always vilified just because of what? Like, you don't like the way he plays, even though in moments when we have needed him, he has delivered. So yes, call him out. He's been bad the last few games. I said it last stream. He was not good. But at the same time, there's got to be balance. Like, people don't call out their favorites. Like, I haven't heard, and he probably because he hasn't been seen, but nobody's come out and said they were wrong about Van de Beek being better than Bruno. Nobody's come out and said that, without Antony, let's be honest, we look worse. I know, like, neither of us think Antony is the perfect solution on the right, but at the end of the day, without him, our team looks worse. That's a fact. So it's agendas. It's really agendas.
Bro, can I come in on it just quickly? For me, if as a fan, if you've got to the point in your head where you're slagging off one of your own football players for a team that you support for standing last in line, of the queue to come out onto the football pitch, you need to have a word with yourself. And also, if it's that bad, you have to look at the manager. Because if you think the player is that bad and you're criticizing him for every single little thing he's doing, then your anger then should be directed at the manager, because you should be saying, why you continue to pick this guy?
Exactly.
Don't go at the guy for standing last in the queue. If you think it's that bad, go at the manager. I think Ten Hag has serious questions to answer.
I think he does, but I think the one thing about I think he does. Eventually, I think at the end of the day, Ten Hag.
Eventually, why not now? Have not seen enough?
I mean, you finished the third and won a cup last season, so I feel like you should be. I think he's justified to have some questions asked him already.
You can ask him some questions, but he's had one again. This is me. I'm different than a lot of people. I have patience with managers, because at the end of the day, I don't think 1 year where he was a betting in process, 1 year. And he won us a trophy. He got us top 4. And then coming into this season, he's starting to do some weird shit again, messing around with players' positions, some favoritism that people are calling out. Yes, you can call out some of those things. I agree. Yes, Rashford should be dropped. That should be on the manager. But I think the realm of we need to sack him is ridiculous. I think that's far.
You can't be far off though, man. The question's around the corner for me.
I think it's far. I think, in my opinion, you have to give a manager more time than you have to give them at least 2 years, before you can talk about sacking after he's succeeded, after he's already succeeded. Listen, you have Pep Guardiola, so it's really easy for you to sit there and be like, I never have to worry about it because we've got the best manager.
Right, and you lot go on about, we're Man United. I'm looking at Man United now. I think you've got worse than you were last season. You've got a manager.
Talk to me again. I'll say this. I always say there's still time. Talk to me in January. Talk to me in May. If we've gotten worse, then that's when I'll know. But right now, we started last year with 2 massive losses against Brentford and Brighton last year too. It's like nothing. I'm not saying it's an okay thing. I'm saying it's overreactions. I'm saying people are.
A lot of United fans are saying that the season's already over. Do you agree with that then?
I don't think the season's already over. It's impossible for the season to be over.
Cam, I'll interject. Our Premier League season's over.
Well, our Premier League season was over coming in, unless you thought we were going to win it. I didn't.
No, but my expectations was, and I've had to hold my hand up and say I was wrong. I trust this manager. I know we had some injury problems, but I thought with him getting the players that he did, still knew we had holes, which is why I didn't think we'd win the league. But I believe we could have closed the gap on the teams on the top, and I feel like we should have done, and we haven't done that yet. And I do blame the manager for parts of that. I absolutely do. So, for instance, he should have signed Amrabat before he signed Mount, because I think Amrabat is more of a player we needed. So that's still on him, even though the club, with the amount of money we make, we should have had the money to be able to buy both. So there's elements there you have to look at. The Rashford situation is a scenario where, again, I disagree that with people where they say Bruno's been a problem. He was our chief creator the other day. All our big chances he created. Rashford's been awful this campaign. Garnacho played well in the week, and he should have started this game. Almost, a sign to say to our highest paid player and our talisman that nobody is undroppable. You will be on that bench, especially if somebody comes into your position and performs well. And I thought Garnacho had done that, plus Rashford has been off. What I will say as well, though, is the problem that Man United have, and I don't think outside people looking in always see this, is that there is so much player FC at our club. I've never known anything like it. To an extent of most people you see going at Rashford hard. And even if he was just wanting to be at the back of the players coming out because he's superstitious, so what? That's not arrogance. That's just a superstition. Some players like to come out last. Paul Ince, if I remember correctly, didn't used to put his shirt on until he just walked out onto the football pitch. And he had to go at the back. It was what he did for, I think, every game from a certain point in his career. No one ever called it arrogance or stupid. It was just something you let people get on with. People are saying that he's not creating enough for Højlund. Show me all the chances that the midfielders and the other wingers are creating for Højlund since he's been in the team. They've not been doing it. So Rashford deserves to be criticised. Rashford should be dropped. At the same time, people are going so over the top with it. But it's because when you click on their profile, I guarantee you 95% of them will have a picture of Ronaldo, Sancho, or Martial. Like, it's just obvious. You can just tell straight away that that's the problem that Man United have. There is infighting and point scoring on top of our problems, and it makes the place more toxic. And if Rashford does start this next game and does really well and scores, they'll still moan about it. He shouldn't even been on the pitch. And that's weird for me as well. And the manager's handling all of that. He should be criticised as well, by the way. 100% right, Lewis. I wouldn't say sack him right now, but you lose 5 of your opening 9 games in a season when you're nearly £400 million into a rebuild. That's not acceptable. Injuries or no injuries, losing 5 of the first 9 games isn't acceptable. Now, the remedy isn't sack him straight away, but he's got to go on a very good unbeaten run soon. Very, very good. I'm talking...
Which is why I'm saying it's round the corner. Surely it's round the corner. If it doesn't improve, Terry, surely it's got to...
If we go another 9 games in all comps and we lose another 5, he's got to go.
Yeah, but that's the thing. I don't... So, and this is where I'm different. I don't like having that conversation until it happens. Because it's a waste of energy. So we can talk about, oh yeah, if he loses another 5 games in 10, then yeah, sack him. Okay, cool. What if he doesn't? Then there's no point until, like, for me, it's kind of like, I'm talking about what's happening right now. And I'm saying, yes, you can question him for what's happening right now. I'm saying I don't want to get involved in the second conversation because it's nowhere near that, in my opinion. I think that's where you wait until that conversation is worth having.
You can understand the concerns, though, can't you? Because I look at United from last season, and to me, I might have read into the whole thing about United wrong. Last year was very much Erik ten Hag going, right, this is the squad I've got. I'm not going to try and implement my style of play. I'm going to play the football that works with this crop of players, which is why you saw United sitting back at times, hitting teams on the counter a lot more often. This year, I thought with the signing of Onana, the signing of Amrabat, the signing of Mount, this was supposed to be, right, we're transitioning into Erik ten Hag.
How many games have those 3 guys played? Okay, you just said it. How many games have those 3 guys played together? Go. If that's your point, now go. How many games have those 3 guys played together?
I didn't see them as the sole key to it. I thought they were additions to it.
No, your point is, if he got all those guys in, ready to play his football, how many games have they played together?
And all 3 together, 1.
So at the end of the day, my point of having
including combinations or
I'm just saying, if you're going to use that point, which I don't disagree with that point, I think you were right. When he has all those players in and everybody that he was supposed to have on the pitch together, I get we're going to have injuries, and just like everybody else, but at the end of the day, the main players that he needed to get in, and Terry made a good point, he should have got them in earlier, but those players have not played together. They played one game. So we're sitting here talking about a team that has not actually.
Can I have my say in this, Terry? Because you called me out before, Terry. You called me out before. I want to have. Sorry, guys. You remember, Terry, me and you had to talk about the style of play and how you watch Man United and you expect something. Do you want honesty? In the last 2 games, I saw what Ten Hag wanted to do. You're a suffocating team. Your high line is working. Your guys inverting. You're passing the ball. You're isolating wingers. You're doing everything that you're expecting Ten Hag to do. And I sat there and said, this is how he should play football. This is what we expected. I don't care if a Crystal Palace was pinned back or not. You can say they wanted to do that, but Man United pinned them back. 70% position in a game, 77 on the other game. The goal they conceded was from an obvious offside decision. You created more chances than Crystal Palace, and you had more shots than Crystal Palace. Crystal Palace had no teeth in this game. This is the reality, right? Here is the problem that I saw in Man United. Marcus Rashford, every time they isolated him with the defender, he put his face down, tried to dribble the people, and that's how he was effective last year. The problem is with the new way, because you're not playing transition football, you're not playing on the counter attack. It didn't work. It didn't work as much. That's the thing. He needs to play with the team, like recycle the ball to the other, like Man City does. Doku gets the ball, dribble doesn't work, go to the other side, try to go from the other side. The problem is Ten Hag on him, that game only, is not getting Rashford, especially Rashford, which is your key player, on the same page of everybody else. That's on the manager. But it's also on Rashford being the superstar as well.
No, Mo, listen, I agree with you. In the last 2 games is how I was expecting us to start playing from earlier on this season, far more possession of the ball. Now, I don't expect us to go and do that at the Etihad or at Arsenal right now, or even against Liverpool. I still think there's a way to go. Sometimes the most simple explanation is the most logical and often the most right one. And we're just not finishing our chances. Now, that doesn't mean I know the comments will go, excuses. It's not an excuse. It's the reason. And some of that is because certain players ain't creating. Players like Rashford, who have been our main goal scorers, he's not doing what he did last year. And I think your reasoning is right. And we're not creating enough chances for Højlund so far. He's actually had, I think, 3 gilt-edged chances created for him since he's been there. Scored one. The header he had at the weekend was saved, and the other one was disallowed because the ball supposedly went out of play. To have a number 9 that you're not creating chances for, you look at the weekend, look how good Haaland is, the best number 9 we've seen on these shores at his age. In fact, he's the best striker Europe's seen at his age since R9 in terms of scoring goals. Facts. If City don't create chances, you don't score. And we've got a player who's similar to that in Højlund. We need to create chances. That's where we're really struggling. So where I agree with Cam is I want to see more games with the majority of the players that he has purchased. But if in 5 to 10 more games, we're not winning and we're losing, there does come a point where you have to say, you might have to look at somebody else, because you can lose dressing rooms. And I think that's where the balance has to come in. So I'm all for the criticism. I'm all for the questions. I'm all for the dropping of Rashford. But some people just go too far. Man United fans are too individualistic. I don't think that's a real word, but it's a word I've just created.
It's a real word.
It's drop Bruno and Rashford and we get better, or sack the manager and we get better. We've been talking about this since Moyes and Fellaini, and it never works. So there has to be a balance here. But look, it was disappointing at the weekend. It was embarrassing again to lose. Go on. Can
I say something in the Rashford thing? Is, as you know this, I've got Rashford on my wall. But if Rashford can't figure out how to play in this system, get rid of him. First, I'll be the first to say it. Like if like I agree with what Mo said, it's like it's not quite working with him. And I also think Højlund's not. You can't I don't think he's immune to criticism either. I've been watching him and being like, I would like to see a little more near post runs. I'd like to see if he does seem a bit raw. There's a few more things, but I'm not going to go at him because it's his first season. But Rashford, if he does not figure things out, he can go. So people need to understand that, like, I'm not a player FC person. I care about the club. And I care about our system working. And if it does not end up getting there in 5-10 games, I will be there with you guys and saying, sack the manager. But we're not there yet. We have to chill.
Yeah, I hear you on that. I really do. Some super chats here. First one says, unpopular opinion with United is that Sir Alex Ferguson should leave the club like Wenger did. Not sure what he is doing. Listen, let me tell you what Fergie does at the club. He turns up on match days, sits in one of the boxes, talks to fans. He isn't doing anything. He's not this distraction the media paint him out to be. He has a role that has almost zero power at the football club. It's him and, I mean, so Bobby Charlton's not very well. He's still on the board. They have what you call ceremonious positions. You know, when somebody gets like they can get like a PhD or a doctorate like handed to them by a university because of services they give. Doesn't mean you'd like them operating on you in a theatre table. It's ceremonious. It's not real. So yeah, I wouldn't worry about it too much. One thing we have seen in the past 5 years is that Man United can take a very world-class player and make him mid-table player in no time. True, everyone's regressed.